Lorenzo Finn. We remember that fantastic attack of his as he went away to take the victory. Before that, of course, some famous names now in the world of cycling. Let's take a look back at a very damp race of last year, but Lorenzo Finn just racing away, leaving his breakaway companion ultimately and soloing to a win in a rainy Zurich. A stunning day for this rider.
Champion from Italy, Lorenzo Martin.
Sebastian Grindley in second place, Emma Ryman in third. 18.3 kilometres, taking the riders on 8 laps of the local Kigali circuit, taking them over Kigali Golf and Kimihurura. There's the circuit. 2 difficult climbs and a lot of things to deal with as well along the way. As I look out my commentary box to my left-hand side, I can see the riders on the start line. A couple of final little issues to be sorted out. But predominantly, everybody is ready to get going. Here's a reminder of our commissaires who will be making sure that all the rules are adhered to. They will be in the cars today, following the race, pretty much. Whilst a lot of riders who are lining up. Let's take a look at the start list. We'll let you digest it. 141 riders from 71 nations taken to the race start.
Okay, we are 5 minutes to racing. A
There's some riders, of course, who have won medals here already in these championships. Oh, we're flicking through all the different nationalities. 71 nations on this list. It's a massive field of riders.
It's going to be an interesting day after we had...
I just saw the Angola riders try and get themselves right on the front of the grid, but actually you can't do that in these races. There's a call of nations and you have to go in the right order. So they've been told to go all the way round, all the way to the back of the peloton, because unfortunately they have to start at the back, but at least they were thinking and trying to put themselves on the front row. There's some pretty strong nations in this field today. We're going to look forward to seeing how they play things out as they settle into the different laps. But as always, keep in touch. Thanks for all your messages of yesterday if you were watching. We're starting right up on at altitude, 1,493 metres above sea level. A lot of climbing on today's course as well.
And ladies and gentlemen, joining us today, we have the pleasure to have with us the UCI Vice President, Mr. Enrico de la Casa. Monsieur Enrico de la Casa, vice-président de l'UCI, se joint à nous pour le départ officiel ce matin.
Muri uyu mwanya rero twakiriye bwana Enrico de la Casa, akaba ari umuyobozi mukuru wungirije wa UCI, ugiye gutangiriza ku mugaragaro rero isiganwa ry'uyu munsi ya Men Juniors Road Race.
Yep, less than 3 minutes to go. Moins de 3 minutes pour le départ.
Here's the sign-on of earlier on. The Rwandan team being presented.
Let's see how the gentlemen fare.
This is the team of Switzerland.
Switzerland and Swiss. And we're going to welcome Kazakhstan.
Team Kazakhstan.
Team of Switzerland being presented. This is the Swedish squad.
Now let's welcome
They've got Reinhold and Elias Wandel. Great Britain have got 4 riders.
Did you see the thousands of fans on the
Dylan Sage, one of the riders who was expected to perform well in the individual time trial. It didn't quite go to plan for him, but let's see whether he can produce a result today. This is Australia.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Australia ready. And here's the Dutch. They've got a gold medal already with Michael Maurice. They've also got Gies Schoenwalder and Dan Dickman in their team.
Make a bit of noise. We got a minute and 40 seconds. Let's ramp these people up. Let's get the riders ready for this junior men's road race.
And
here's our team of Spain. The Spanish getting a medal yesterday, and this is an incredibly strong team, the team of the United States of America. They have got a massive chance of taking the gold medal today. So Enrique de la Casa, the Vice President of the UCI, is going to drop the flag. He's also the head of the European Cycling Union. He's been in the gym a few times this week. I've seen him on the bike. Enrico Della Casa standing there with the flag ready. The riders are ready. The sun is shining on everyone's backs. It's a beautiful morning in Kigali. The crowd have been out since very early. Before 6:30, the music started outside my bedroom window and the presentation started.
Seconds of noise. Come on, let's hear you.
And we're about to see these riders roll. There will be a neutralised section before we get things going.
15 seconds.
We get the countdown then. The race speaker, Randy Ferguson, gives the countdown to the race start of the Men's Junior World Championship.
3, 2, 1, and to the waving of the flag.
And we're underway. Enrique de la Casa drops the flag and waves it to the riders as we get the neutralised section going. 141 riders roll away.
We are on the course.
The neutralised section, a chance then for the riders just to get the legs turning over, get themselves settled into a long day in the saddle. And a few chats between the riders here, right at the front. And everybody will just be taking a look, just seeing how the legs feel, getting themselves composed. It's been a big build-up. Some of these riders have been here a long time. Some, of course, didn't ride the individual time trial either. So it's that opportunity to think, right, okay, now I'm here. I'm in a World Championship race, and I just need to get myself in a good position. Feels quite urgent at the front. At the back, there's already a few riders are finding the neutralised section a little bit quick. The Niger rider, number 92, Sofiane Soumana, at the back on the right-hand side. And the commissaire just asking the riders just to steady things down a little bit. Also the rider at the back, Imadine find it a bit hard. You can already see, though, look at this, the way these riders are going. And it comes to the car driving a little bit more slowly, to be fair. If the car drove a little bit more steady, then the riders would probably go a little bit more steady. There's a lot of adrenaline right now. Australian riders towards the back here. Number 42, Fletcher Medway. And up at the front, the Polish team, South Africa. The South African riders are clearly up for this as well today. And the car looks like it's gone through kilometre zero, and this race has started. And it started in earnest with the Dutch team immediately taking control. I think there'll be a number of nations who want to just steady this out a little bit and get it lined out, get rid of as many riders as they can in the early parts of this race. This is Iakazia Wilson at the back. And they're already finding this pace very, very hard. It can be a real shock for some riders who are suddenly competing against riders who have signed to World Tour development teams, and we get the first big attack of the day. Well, the first big move representing Colombia and Switzerland. These two riders are going to have a long day at the back here. And they're doing everything they can to try and keep the speed as high as possible. The Niger rider, number 92 there. Oh, big crash just in front of us. Look at that. A few riders have already hit the deck. So Godno of Benin is down. The Libyan rider is down. One of the Mexican riders is down. The Libyan rider there who hits the deck is Abduka Abu Abdallah. There's always going to be a few issues and a few crashes here and there in this sort of field with such a large group of riders and everybody really surging, as you can tell. There's riders who just want to keep the pace as high as possible, try and get these breakaways going, try and get rid of riders at the back that they don't want to have there. And that sounds a little bit harsh, but that's exactly what will be in the minds of these junior riders. Like, thin this out, make it a selection, get this peloton down to a more workable number of riders. We saw that as the pattern yesterday. It looked like it was just nothing really happening at the front, although to the trained eye lots was happening at the front. It just looked like you had a big bunch of riders, but basically there was a lot of tactical things going on, particularly with the French. And I think we might get the same pattern today. The Tanzania rider here, number 86, is Waziri Mazzoli. Just working his way back to the peloton in the convoy. Poland really up at the front. Hearing another crash on Radio Tour. Here we go. Another number of riders have hit the deck. The Bolivian rider Sanchez is one of them. And another couple of riders just up in front, and again a big surge. Just heard that the Ghana rider, Farrakhan Mohammed, caught in the crash, and another big attack at the front. The Austrian rider goes clear. So the Austrian rider now makes a move, tries to go clear from the front of this peloton. There's 3 Austrian riders in the race, Heimo Fugger, and this is one of them, Heimo, as he goes clear. So Heimo Fugger decides to try and break away. Where's number 30? Gets a little bit of a gap. Heimo Fugger and the Mali rider find this pace a little bit too much. This is Bakary Bagayoko. And a problem here for one of the Slovenian riders. Problem for the Slovenian rider at the back of the peloton. Heimo Fugger settling in now. He rides for the team of Bahrain Victorious as far as their feeder team is concerned. Their under-19 development team. He's only 17 years of age, Heimo Fugger, but he's an exceptionally strong bike rider. You can see that the way he's riding. He looks like a pro bike rider already, doesn't he? I've never heard Radio Tour so busy in the first 10 minutes of a race. It is full on right now. Seb Piquet, who's of course the voice of the Tour de France on Radio Tour and the voice of the World Championships. I've never heard him chat so much. The bottom of the first climb is coming up now. We're about 800 metres from Kigali Golf. We get this little wind up before it. And Heimo Fugger's obviously decided, let's just try and get up the road a little bit and see whether we can prize an attack off the front. Dylan Sage, British rider, right at the back here. He didn't have a good time trial, and it looks like he's struggling a little bit here as well. Also one of the Belgian riders sitting right on the back. And it can take a little bit of time for some of these riders just to get themselves into this rhythm that is going on, because it's pretty full on. Heimo Fugger riding really straight arms, doesn't he, the way he rides? But very, very powerful. He's ridden a lot of races this year. Notably mainly one-day races. He's ridden things like the Junior Paris-Roubaix and other races like that. Started his season well in March. He won a race in Slovakia. And he finished 3rd in a race in Austria. So he's had some good results. Finished 5th in individual time trial in Austria in Course de la Pace. On to the first climb of the day at Kigali Golf. Another crash here at the back. UAE rider hits the deck as we go uphill. Not a good time to hit the deck. There's never a good time, but this is not one of them. Saif Tani Al Ali of the UAE is down. Let's just take another look at how that happened. Going uphill, top touch of wheels. Saif Tani Al Ali Trying to come back then. So Fuga just being joined by another rider. He's just trying to prize some sort of breakaway off the front of this race as the Swiss rider pedals his way across. The Italians seem to be taking up a nice position just behind there on the left-hand side. More riders being dropped. Soriaden Gita is out of the back. These two riders working well. Jaime Fuga doesn't seem to be enjoying this climb quite so much. See how they get over the top. So they're reaching the top of the climb. And again, Eritrean rider number 138 going out the back. Tekla Mariam. So Schertenlieb of Switzerland goes to the front. Turns the pressure on as they go over the top of the climb. Schertenlieb looking pretty strong today already in this race. Loic Schertenlieb hasn't signed for one of the development teams in the same way that Fuga has, but he's had a very good season. He's ridden a huge number of races this year. He's kind of split his time between racing in Switzerland. He's ridden in Belgium this year too, and he's also ridden in Germany and in France. His last race was in Switzerland, Grand Prix Rubeland. Finished fourth in the mountains classification there. We can tell he's a bit of a climber, can't we? Just with his stature and the way he's riding up that little climb. He found that climb pretty easy. Back in June, he had a second place in a race in Switzerland, the Giubiasco Carena. And it's Edward Klaas on the left-hand side from Belgium, who seems quite comfortable to just sit on the back of the peloton. Might be his tactic. Can be a little bit risky to be doing that. Well, not too many riders really have been dropped so far when we look at it. Things are quite steady. And after that initial kind of surge of everybody just trying to force the pace and trying to get in position, everybody now is really settled down. Now they're starting to build a nice little advantage here. Schertenlieb seems like he really wants to keep this momentum going. The longest edition of the Men's Junior Road Race Championships we've seen more recently is 2019, 148 kilometres. Today's 119. So today's one of the shorter ones, but I mean the terrain is pretty extreme. In terms of its ranking, it goes all the way down to about 48th in the Junior Road Race Championships in terms of its distance. Top three are the 2019 championships, the 2013 and the 1998 championship. All of those championships over 137 kilometres. top being, as I said, 148.1. Very fast round that turn. We're heading now towards the Côte de Kimihurura. We're almost at the bottom of that, the cobbled section. And here they are. They're on to the cobbles now at Kimihurura. We'll see what sort of damage this does now in the junior men's road race. Leaves got plenty of gels ready, hasn't he? In fact, both of them have got plenty of gels in that back pocket. Nicely laid out, ready for eating as the race goes on. This is the back of the peloton as we just saw the riders continuing to just try and push on a little bit. The Austrian rider, you can see he's got kind of the little pocket in the back ready for the number for his time trial, and still got the pockets to be able to put the gels in. But in a road race, the riders have to have two numbers affixed on the back. Still quite old-fashioned with the pins being used. Two more riders finding this tempo just a little bit too hot to handle. The Benin rider, Saznu, is going out the back, and Hatali of Tanzania is also just in front. Yesterday in the women's under-23 race, the African riders, initially the Rwandan riders were riding well, but I think overall the African nations found that race quite extreme, and it was a bit of a shock to the system as to how hard it was. But the Rwandan riders, I thought yesterday in the initial stages of that race, really put up a very strong fight. So they reach almost the top of the climb now. This is Li of Hong Kong, China. Absolutely on his limit. Cannot stay with his peloton at all. But look how easy these two riders are finding it. Just pedaling their way up. Nice and easy. Simple tempo. Just good for them to be off the front like this. They're starting to grow this gap pretty considerably. 22 seconds now. It looks quite a bit bigger when you look behind and see where the peloton is. There they are, just coming round the corner in the depth of a shot there. Fugger is a tall, powerful bike rider, isn't he? The rider on the right-hand side there. The peloton spread across the road, representatives of Italy, Colombia, the United States of America. When you look at the strongest nations in this men's junior race, you can really see that there's big possibilities for these teams. In particular, the Italian team is strong. I would imagine when you look through and we start to pick some of the teams out, Belgium are strong. Spain are strong with Benjamin Noval in that squad. And we talked about him in the individual time trial the other day. Belgium have got Sef van Kerkhoven. We saw that he's on form. But the United States of America, for me, is potentially the strongest team. They've got Ashlyn Barry, medalist the other day. Beckham Drake, who produced an amazing performance. They've also got Enzo Hincapi, Hinkapi's being sought after by a number of teams for this season, for next season. So that's a strong squad of riders. They've also backed up by Kasia Adamski and Braden Wright. Those three riders in particular, Ashlyn Barry, Beckham Drake and Enzo Hinkapi, that's a formidable combination. The Dutch have got Michael Maurice. Australia do look good actually. So we'll see how this plays out as we come up to the end of lap number 1. One lap completed. And these riders are not hanging around. The average speed of that first lap is 44 kilometers an hour. That's rapid on this course. One lap completed, 7 laps to go. 2 leaders with a nice advantage now.
19 minutes, 29 seconds for the first lap.
The American team up at the front. On the left-hand side, Colombia. On the right-hand side, Colombia as well. So they've kind of split their team on either side of the road. Belgium already starting to pour water on those thighs. It is warm out here and it's getting warmer and it's getting more intense. The gap is considerable at the end of lap number 1. It's going to be almost 40 seconds. It is 40 seconds, 41. As they go through the feed now, it's going to be a bit busy in there. Heimo Fugger and Loic Schertenlieb were the 2 leaders. Behind them, the peloton led by Braden Wright of the United States of America. Alongside him was Mats van den Einde, Geronimo Calderon, Vincia Ramadana. Also Enzo Hinkapi, Benedict Benz, Theophil Vassal, Josh Johnson of South Africa, Zeno Winter. I think Josh Johnson's got a good chance today. Sebastian Castro of Costa Rica, Ashlyn Barry of the USA. So still a big peloton of riders. The average speed actually, once they did the neutralise, it's not 44, it's 41.882 has been corrected. But that's still a fast average speed. In that front group of riders, we're already down to 98 riders in the front group. We started with 141. Welcome along, thanks very much for joining us. This is the Men's Junior World Championship. Here's our breakaway, nearly a minute now. Getting little bits of information from the roadside about riders and how they've been feeling in the lead up to this race. The Dutch rider, Gies Schoenvelder, said that he's been struggling a little bit with some sickness over the last few days, but the first day he feels better as today, maybe some nerves as well, but also, as always, a change of food and everything like that. Well, he wants to feel he's one of the favourites for today's race. He's got Michael Maurice with him, of course. And Jan Jakowiak of the Polish team says that this is his big goal. He's ready for this race today. Loves the cobble climb. So looking to try and do well for Poland. And we saw that right at the start, how intent Poland were. The Polish team really pushing things in the neutralised section, wanting the car to go quicker. Commissaire asking the riders to calm down a little bit at that precise moment in time. And these two riders holding now at 40 seconds. I'm seeing big groups of riders coming through the line, knowing we started with 141 riders and knowing we're already under 100 in the peloton. And it seems to be the Swiss rider who wants to keep the momentum in this group right now, pushing the pace. He's quite urgent in his style, isn't he, the way he rides. When we look back in history, Switzerland have a nice background in this race. See whether they can come through with a medal during today's race. This event was first run in 1975. The first winner was Roberto Vicentini, the Italian rider. Vicentini, of course, well known for the Giro d'Italia, and one of the most incredible stories of Giro d'Italia history, where himself and Stephen Roach were in the same team, and there was a rift and a split in the team. Although we've not seen that recently, have we, in Grand Tours? They both shake their legs at the same time, just to get a bit of life into them, heading down towards the next point. Whoa, that was a little bit fast through that turn. And of course, Vicentini and Stephen Roach went head-to-head. There was a rift in the team. Vicentini had the majority of the team with him. Roach had one loyal domestique. And ultimately, Stephen Roach went on to win the Giro d'Italia. And Vicentini was the rider who was left distraught after being basically turned over by one of his teammates in the Giro d'Italia. The Shimano neutral service car is going to drop in the gap to give these riders a little bit of cover. But Vicentini won that first event in 1975. I actually got to meet him a few years ago on the podium of the Giro d'Italia. He was a lovely man to chat to. And we exchanged hellos and everything like that, and just got a chance to just say hello to him. We were in his home city at the time in the Giro d'Italia, and it was very nice to meet him, because at the end of the day, most of what's been written about him was that those days in the Giro d'Italia himself. He did well in that race, 5 individual stages. He won 2 stages of the Vuelta, he won Tirreno Adriatico. He comes from Brescia, but he's got that history of that first ever Junior World Championship. Still lives in Brescia now, 68 years of age. But we always remember him on this day as the first winner of the championship. Heading down now towards the Kigali Golf Climb. We're about to reach that. It starts to rear up in front of us. And that's where riders have been using the climb yesterday in the women's race as a little bit of a test because it's only 800 metres, 8.1% its gradient, but it's a good test for the riders to just see what happens when you just put some pressure on and who's got the legs and who can follow and who can't follow. We're inside the magic 100 kilometres to go. This is the Men's Junior World Road Race Championship. This afternoon we're going to bring you the Men's Under 23 Championship.
twakire kandi uyu mugande kubugande rero tumukomera amashyi menshi cyane uwo nawe ni Lobo Michael.
There's some quite interesting photographs around of teams who are going out training and getting themselves out of Kigali city. And getting out of Kigali is pretty bustling and chaotic, actually. But once you get out of the city, there's some great scenery. You just need to kind of be escorted out to those areas, and then you're able to ride quite nicely. But there are so many sites of people with their bikes that they use daily to transport all their goods, and the cargo delivery bikes almost. Very particular style of bike, quite long. As we make our way onto Côte de Kigali Golf. Looks like these two riders in the breakaway are still continuing to ride well. 57 seconds the gap's gone out to. This time it's Fugger who takes on the pacemaking at the front. This is the 4% gradient. And now it kicks up a little bit more. 11%. Really starts to hurt. And this course is difficult in that you're just trying to keep momentum, but you don't have a lot of recovery time, as we've seen already. Because in between the different climbs, there's only 3 and a bit kilometres. So you don't get any moment really to recover until after you go over the finish line, and then you start to get some moments of recovery. The Italian team on the right-hand side. That team made up of Agostinaccio, Capello and Rosato. There they are on the right-hand side in the Maglia Azzurra, the blue jerseys. Riding well. They've got some good opportunities here. They just missed out on a medal yesterday in a women's race with Chiabocco. She was in that final sprint. Did show yesterday you can leave your sprint very, very late. Canadian team moving up. Good result with Holmgren yesterday. Maybe not quite what they wanted, but she rode a superb race. The gap goes out to 105. Drops down back to 55 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that. Slovenia represented in that lime green kit in the middle. And another crash, another problem. The Libyan rider there needs a wheel. I think this is the rider who crashed. In fact, no, they're out of the race, these riders, unfortunately. after that crash earlier on. So Ethiopia and Libya lose riders.
Close-up.
95.6 kilometres of racing to go. 2 leaders, 55 seconds. Poland back up at the front. Spain also represented. They're in that dark blue jersey with the Spanish flag colours, the red and the gold. I'm sure they'll be motivated after their performance of their women's team yesterday. Very important in the early stages of today's race to keep the nutrition levels high, keep the hydration, because I'm sure it will come back and bite you later on in the race if you don't. We're heading now towards Kota Kimihura. We're going to reach there with about 93 kilometres to go. Our 2 leaders working well and keeping this position going. Schertenlieb of Switzerland and Fugger of Austria. Another crash I've just heard, a Namibian rider hitting the deck. But this is the fast section where you feel like you're getting a nice load of momentum going. Then you start towards the climb of the cobbles. But this little section can be fast, you've got to stay near the front. You can lose a fair bit of energy around this section. A little bit of a chance to have a stretch. Fugger, the Austrian rider, has been on the move all day today. Now Australia decide to come to the front in that green and gold. The Austrian team, Max Gold, Alexander Hughes, Fletcher Medway and Lucas Stevenson are the 4 representatives of Australia. Obviously some of the bigger nations with more riders worried a little bit. They don't want to let this gap go too far. We're getting up, staying at that sort of minute mark, and that's probably about as much as they want to let a couple of riders take, particularly when they are got one really good climber here and one good time trialist, and therefore that kind of combination could work nicely if they do work well. And now we're onto the cobbles for the second time. Taken to the right-hand side of the road. All the riders have been doing the reconnaissance of this route over the last few days and trying to find the best line. Clearly they've decided that the right-hand side on these cobbles is a little bit smoother. You do clink your way over these and it's very, very rough. You can see there a little bit of the way it falls away, and Schertenlieb just gets himself around what it's not a pothole, but it certainly drops away a little bit once you go around that turn. Well, the German team coming to the front. Benedikt Benz, Karl Herzog, Moritz Maus, and Zeno Winter are the team. And the Dutch team quite happy now to come to the front in that orange and do as much work as possible. South Africa represented Belgium, Czechia, Switzerland on the right-hand side, Germany on the left-hand side, Slovenia in the middle, Eritrea represented up here at the front as well. It's about 9% gradient. We'll see what the average speed is at the end of this lap, bearing in mind that we're up at over 41 kilometres an hour on that first lap of racing. The breakaway, 41.882 was the average speed in that first lap. France now getting some representation up towards the front of this peloton. 500 metres to go to the top, then we've got the smooth section. We turn left, we work our way to 1 kilometre to go. Fast downhill, a bit of a kick up. But now it's Belgium who start to up the tempo a little bit. They clearly want to just try and select a little bit more and close this gap, and it is coming back now. The Belgian team this time, Edward Klaas, Thor Mikkelsen, Stef van Kerkhoven, Mats van den Ende, to Veerbeek. Belgium just with that little acceleration, just making a few riders suffer. Well, yesterday the UCI announced that they will remove the Nations Cup fund to 23 riders. It's not really necessary now, is it? And they will invest everything in the Nations Cup of junior riders, because now the junior category is becoming the most important one. The World Tour teams are looking at this as the showcase, and it's no surprise that the agents are arriving here, because this is the race they now want to watch. They want to sign up anyone that to them is the talented face of the future. Now a big acceleration by Belgium at the front. A real forcing of the pace. Quite early in the race at 91.5 kilometres to go, but these juniors ride like 91 kilometres is no distance whatsoever. Here's the pushing of the pace now by the Belgian team. Suddenly the gap has dropped 20 seconds. And if you're sitting down the back and you're deciding you're just going to take it easy for the first few laps, that could be your undoing in this race. You see some of the American riders towards the back, the British riders towards the back, even the Polish riders. Ashlyn Barry is a long, long way down the string of riders. So is Braden Wright of the USA. But if you're going to do that today, you've got to be sure you've got the legs to come back on the climb. Coming up to the completion of lap number 2. Certainly, just checking what's going on. There's a lot of discussions, a lot of looks going on at the front of this peloton. Checking around, and we're thinning this group down even more. You can see that, little groups of riders going out the back. So the completion of another lap and a massive attack from the United States of America to try and go across to the front group and take the pressure off the American team. That's a good move. End of lap number 2. for the riders. Our breakaway remains Heimo Fugger, Loic Schertenlieb. And now the American team don't have to worry so much. They've got their rider going across. What a move he's made. That's a fantastic move by the USA. That's Beckham Drake. Beckham Drake has gone across. Average speed now 40.967 kilometers an hour. So we're going to have 3 riders at the front if Beckham Drake can get there. It looks like he will get there. And in that actual peloton, 81 riders now. There's a little group just behind, but predominantly we've lost 17 riders on that lap. There's maybe a couple of riders who might get themselves back in. At the front of the peloton that time as things were getting stretched. Zeno Winter, Sebastian... whoa, that was fast through there, wasn't it? Sebastian Castro, Brad on the right, Kevin Estupinan, Tove Beek, Hubert Lamoth, Jakob Zanka, Giacomo Rosato were the riders at the front of the peloton. 34 seconds is the gap. Beckham Drake is almost at the front now. More attacks go on the other side of the road as there was a chat going on between the American and the French rider. 3 more riders trying to go clear. Well, yesterday the UCI announced lots of dates. Of course, the now big World Championships will take place in 2027 in Haute-Savoie. That will be the Mega Worlds like we had in Glasgow, and yesterday the next World Championships of the same style were awarded to Trentino in Italy in 2031. Here's our 2 leaders. Beckham Drake is only 10 seconds behind. You might be wondering why they're not waiting for him. Well, they don't have race radios, so they won't even know he's there. And they're only now 33 seconds ahead of the peloton, so they don't want to wait too much. Otherwise, they're coming back. Here he is, he's almost there now. This has been a fantastic job. Beckham Drake, what a time trialist this guy is. That's a great move by Beckham Drake to get himself across, and he joins the front. This will add some more firepower. He goes immediately to the front of the group, and he wants to keep the momentum going for the American squads. Beckham Drake, fourth in the individual time trial the other day. Just finished fifth in the Tour de l'Abitibi. He was second in the individual time trial there. He's ridden a few gravel races this season as well. He was 8th in the Unbound Gravel, the 100-mile edition. So he's a strong bike rider, Beckham Drake. He really is. He spent most of his year in America at the start until he went after that to just ride a couple of other races. He rode the Nations Cup in May, and he finished 8th overall in the stage race there. So he's had some good experience. He rides for Team California. Beckham Drake having a good day. A counter-attack coming now from Poland. Sorry, not Polish rider on the attack now. Counter-attack coming. Trying to come across. Nicholas van der Merwe. He looks good. Comes from Bulgaria, Nicholas van der Merwe. So you're starting to see the way that this race is going. It's evolving forward all the time. Van der Merwe, he rides for the Under-19 Academy of the Region Sud, powered by Giant. 18 years of age. It's into time trial mode now. Finished 13th in the time trial the other day. He's the Bulgarian road race champion. Van der Merwe trying to get across then. Beckham Drake pushing the pace, having got into the front. He wants to use his time trialling ability to pull this gap out again. I'm wondering whether this race gives us that pattern that things go forward now in the race rather than we've seen that attritional sort of riders just going out the back. But it could be that you just end up with stronger riders going up the road all the time. These three riders working well together, sharing the pace, making very well indeed. Can Van der Merwe get there and make it 4 strong riders at the head of this Junior World Championship? Junior riders no longer on restricted gears. We used to have to restrict the gears considerably, so you'd end up with a situation where they're just spinning out all the time because of the strength of them now. But because now they're on non-restricted gears, that's why you can really see. Whoops. Fugger then just saying sorry to the camera bike, throwing some rubbish across the road, which I'm not sure it was a waste zone, but there we go. Probably shouldn't have been doing that anyway. Heading now onto the climb of Kigali Golf. Beckham Drake has got really powerful pedalling style, hasn't he, the American? You can just see the way he rides. very effective. Combining well, just sharing the pacemaking. They do this for the new fans of the sport. You go through to the front, you do your little bit of pacemaking, you swing across, you let the next rider come through. That way the riders behind are able to get a little bit of a rest. Just let their heart rate just drop a little bit, just kind of a micro drop. But it does mean that they're not using as much power, as much energy as they go on to the climb now for the next time. There are conversations going on. The Swiss rider just checking across at Beckham Drake. Schurtenlieb. You can see how quickly they slow down on these particular gradients. Another rider trying to come across. I don't know where Van der Merwe is only 9 seconds behind. Now we get attack from the French squads. So the French rider trying to go across, Johan Blanc. And the motorbike is scraping its foot pegs. Such is the speed in which they're going through the corners. Now, here's the Bulgarian. He's nearly on the group. Four leaders, 81.7 kilometers to go. Last meter or so for Van der Merwe's hard. Johan Blanc. The saddle, trying to get across. The Frenchman. He rides for the Groupama FDJ Continental team. 18 years of age. Just trying to pedal his way up to the leaders again. I'm not so sure he's got the same momentum as Drake and Van der Merwe had to get across to the original two leaders. Johan Blanc, though, a useful bike rider. He just won a couple of stages in Giro del Lunigiana. That's a race that Remco Evenepoel and Tadej Pogačar have both won in their careers. He finished 13th overall in the classification. He was 5th in Grand Prix Plouay, the Frenchman. Van der Merwe just trying to get a little bit of a rest before he starts to contribute to the pacemaking. That's what generally happens when riders go across to the break. We saw Drake do something different. He went straight to the front, but generally the riders will come across and they'll just say to the rider, just give me a moment, I'll just get myself composed and then I'll start to work. So Johan Blanc now going forward. Two more riders trying to come across. There's a German rider in that chasing group at the front. Well, the race is an interesting pattern, isn't it? It really has. We've seen two riders go away, one rider come across, another rider join. Now we've got another rider on his own trying to come across, another two riders behind. One of them is the Canadian Moran, Ben Moran of Canada. And then the peloton is now at 49 seconds. So we're just seeing strong riders go across. And it's Zeno Winter of Germany, who is the other rider in that chasing group. So Right now, Drake, Schertenlieb, Fugger, Van der Meewe are the riders at the front. Blanc trying to go across. Two chasers, Moran and Zeno Winter. And that's the situation out on the road so far. Johan Blanc has had a number of victories this season, the Frenchman. Peloton now at 51 seconds. It'll be interesting to see which team is on the front and which team is chasing. Well, it is Belgium. No surprises there. One of the strongest squads who started things kicking off, but actually have ended up missing this group of riders.
Our president the 2025
Johan Blanc looks like he might get some company. We'll see whether these three riders can combine and work their way across to the front. And the pits are incredibly busy. A lot of riders are out of this race. Comoros, represented here by Medine, is out of the race, unfortunately. He's abandoned.
Well, it looks like we have one rider down here. It is a few riders going down here. And we're starting with the
well, they've had the experience of starting the World Championships.
1:31.
And over time they'll get stronger. They just need the training, they need the experience, and they need the racing. So recently the riders who've abandoned the race: Yakuba of Niger, Sumana of Niger, Burkina Faso's Ungarua, Jordan's Hajir, and Teal of Namibia, all out of the race. Onto the climb, the cobbles this time. We're making short work of this course, aren't we? Let's see whether we get any accelerations from the peloton now. Just over 40 kilometres of racing being covered. See the work rate of these riders. Oh, and now there's a counter-attack in this front group of riders. Our original attacker has cracked. Timo Fugger just can't stay with the momentum that's being set by the front group of riders. That's a shame for him. He was the rider who animated this race. He might get a second win, though, with his three riders coming across. So these three riders on the climb. This is the cobbled climb, not Kigali Golf. This is Kimihurura. And it's the rider from Canada, Moran, there in the red and white at the front. Ben Moran, 18 years of age. Schertenlieb has also dropped, so the original two attackers are in trouble on the cobbles. Ben Moran finished third in the Wardsley Junior Challenge this year in the Netherlands. Won a race in Genk in Belgium. He's had a good season. He's a strong bike rider. Ridden the Nations Cups as well for Canada. As we see now, we end up with two leaders at the front, and they're the two riders who came across. So our two leaders are now Drake and Van der Merwe, heading their way towards the completion of another lap and keeping this tempo as high as possible. Here's our two leaders coming to the top of the climb then. It's Beckham, Drake and Van der Merwe in the red and white and green of Bulgaria. They go over the top. Heading to that 1 kilometre to go point. And now they'll work their way downhill and head towards the completion of this lap, and we'll see is the average speed being maintained. It started off very, very fast, 41.882 kilometres an hour on that first lap of racing. I think Fugger might get a little bit of a second opportunity here as these three riders drive their way across on the front. Zeno Winter of Germany, Blanc is there, and Moran of Canada. There's the peloton. One rider trying to come across from Spain. But the peloton now at 54 seconds at this point in the race. They don't seem too concerned, but there are teams now with some of the stronger teams who've got riders up the road. The USA, Canada, not worried anymore. France also won't chase because Blanc could get across to the front. So suddenly you cancel out a number of nations. It means that the onus starts to go on the likes of Poland, Belgium and other squads. Completion of another lap.
Let's all welcome the third lap out of 8.
Coming up to complete lap number 3. 5 laps of racing to go. Drake and Van der Merwe are our leaders. Average speed 40.924. It's still fast. Schurtenlieb looks around, decides that maybe he'll wait. Hopefully he can get himself in that group of riders, of which there are now 4, and go back across to the leaders potentially. The gap to Schurtenlieb is going to be 30, maybe 35, 36 seconds. He goes across at 38 seconds actually. And here's our quartet chasing Blanc, Winter, Moran and Fugger. The gap to them is now 53 seconds. Here's the peloton. So 7 riders in effect off the front of this race. Another rider coming across. This is the Spanish rider who has got himself in the gap. This is Ukoregui. He's at 108, and this peloton is letting this gap go out. Uganda represented right up at the front. Great news for Uganda. Eritrea still represented in here as well. Peloton come through, and the gap is going to be significant. 1:37. That is a significant margin now. Up at the front of the peloton that time, Harry Hudson of Great Britain, Benedict Benz of Germany, Salah Hamzou of Algeria, Rodden Wright of USA, Josh Johnson still there for South Africa, Elias Wandel, Tristan Hardy of Mauritius, Paul Miro of Uganda riding strongly up at the front. Eritrea represented by Noam Ephraim. Mauritius have a couple of riders up towards the front of that peloton. There's now 83 riders. So things have stabilised as far as the riders are concerned. 7 off the front and 76 riders in the peloton.
Important to drink, to eat at the right time.
Now it looks like the Spanish rider's going to get across. Caregui. He had a gap of 15 seconds to this group of riders when they went across the finish line, and he's already getting himself up to the group. He's going to add a little bit more firepower there, so we're going to end up with a chasing group that contains Shirtley, Blanc, Winter, Fuga, Moran and Uru Caregui. The Spanish rider makes his way and gets to the junction. 18 years of age. Just won a stage of the Vuelta Pamplona and finished 10th overall. Predominantly a race which the Spanish riders were riding for. But he's also had some good results. He rode a race in June, which was the Itzulia Junior race, and he won every single stage. Just rode away with every single day of that race. That's not bad, is it? And that race is 4 stages, so he won every stage, the individual time trial and 3 road stages and the general classification. He was on a rich train of form then, because before that he won a race in Vitoria-Gasteiz, and then he also won Gipskakoa as well, so he's a rider who's had some fantastic results. He rides for a team called GT Tolosa, team that's based in Spain. Here's our 2 leaders again. Heading towards then the Côte de Kigali Gulf. We're going to reach the bottom of that with 67.1 kilometres to go on this lap. Now this group of riders really do need to get themselves organised, and this shot is fantastic because it gives you a real sense now of how much this road rears up. These two riders are really now putting this peloton under a little bit of pressure. 1:35, they're holding this advantage, and you can see that they have real momentum at the front of this race, these two. If you've just joined us now, they rode across to two leaders. They did it individually. The first to get there was Drake. Van der Merwe was the second to get there. Once they got to that group of riders at the front, they got rid of them on the cobbles and they just rode away. The original two riders in the breakaway are in this group chasing. Fugger there on the right, wearing number 30, and the Swiss rider, certainly. They just couldn't stay. They had looked very, very good in the race before they were caught, and then things went a little bit awry for them. The chasing group of riders has kind of come together, but they don't seem to have the momentum to get across to these leaders yet. Zeno Winter, Johan Blanc, Ukaregui and Ben Moran. But they're not really closing this gap, and the peloton is only 20 seconds behind them, and you get the sense that potentially, as a Shimano neutral service car goes past, that really these riders might see their lead evaporate, and then we'll end up with two leaders with a massive gap back to the peloton at maybe 1.5 minutes or so. Heading on to Kigali Golf, with the golf course on the right-hand side that the riders can look down on, and the massive houses on the left-hand side. Mount Kigali looks out over this particular area, one of the capital's highest natural points with the panoramic views. Over the weekend we're going to see much more of the sights of this particular area, I'm sure. But as the riders ride through the golf course now, 65 hectares, it really encompasses the land of 1,000 hills, of which Rwanda is known. And the golf course itself, 6,500 metres long with 18 holes. And it's literally just outside the centre, so you suddenly go into this oasis of peace outside a bustling city centre. Here's our chasing group, still keeping things together. They've got to keep the faith that they can get themselves to the front, but 1:15, 1:14, it's just hovering. Ultimately, you wonder what their hope is going to be. These two leaders have been away for a long time now. You don't see any sort of sense that the two leaders are losing interest, losing momentum. They seem to have really good legs today, as more riders are out of the race. Tunisia and Turkey and Mexico. It's been a tough race. And we're not even halfway through yet. At the end of this lap, we get 4 laps to go. We'll be at the midway point. Thanks very much for joining me. If you'd like to be in touch, at Ant McCrossan. One of the American riders is out of the race here. That is Adamski. Abandons the race for the USA. On to Kigali Golf again. We talked a little while ago about Vicentini, who was the first ever winner of this race in 1975. Since then, Greg LeMond also took the title in 1979. LeMond ultimately winning the Professional Road Race Championship, which for many years we had a professional race and an amateur race as well. And I remember Greg LeMond taking that victory. He kind of first was noticed, I guess, in the 1982 World Road Race Championships, won by Giuseppe Cerrone in the pro ranks, held in Great Britain in Goodwood. LeMond attacking on the final climb to try and, as we see, an American flag cheering on Beckham Drake. And LeMond attacking to try and go across to the leader. There was a lot of discussion that day because Jock Boyer was one of the riders he attacked, and that was his teammate. Boyer now very involved in African cycling. Other riders who've won this junior championship, to give you an idea of names and how important this championship is and has become. Damiano Cunego, the Little Prince, the winner of the Giro d'Italia, won it in 1999. This looks to me like Max Gould. Golan rider is out. God, there's so many riders who are just coming in. One of the UAE riders comes into the pits. Lucia's rider there, Alphonse, Denver Alphonse. This peloton's now at 2:15. This is substantial. Max Gould at 1:20. In fact, he's now with the chasers, so he's got momentum, Max Gould. Is this peloton giving this lead group way too much time? And a Junior World Championship to give a group 2:11. It's taken some risks with 64k to go. And they're not riding, are they, as though they're just maintaining the leads. They're riding as though they don't believe they're going to come back. Damiano Cunego then won in 1999, the winner of the Giro d'Italia and so many other bike races. Roman Kreuziger was a winner in 2004. He had a fantastic career, and Kreuziger now one of the sports directors in one of the cars. Kreuziger 2004. Jasper Stuyven, winner in 2009. Stuyven moving from the Lidl Trek team at the end of the season to move on to pastures new. Matti Moric was the winner in 2012. I remember commentating on that victory of Matti Moric that day. Moric went on, of course, to so much in his career. Not sure where he's going to be next season. He's kind of talking as though he wants to still be a Bahrain victorious, but he's not sure whether that deal is being done or not. Here's the peloton. Belgium are going to have to start to chase soon, and they're going to have to start to chase pretty hard. So are the Dutch. There's no sight of them other than being sitting quite long way down the peloton. When do they really start the chase, and are they that controlled? A problem here. This is Van der Merwe. Oh, not good news. That's going to take the momentum out of this front group. Oh, what happened? Nicolas van der Merwe is now out of the front group, and that's really not good news. Does Beckham Drake wait for him? What does he do? He was at a standstill for a while. Oh, terrible news for the breakaway. Terrible news for van der Merwe. Let's see what happened. And he had a problem with his gears. Comes to a standstill. And just to right it pretty quickly, the chain came off the front ring. And it looks like Beckham Drake has done the right thing and has steadied up a little bit. Then they'll need to get themselves together, because two riders with 62k to go is much better news. Beckham Drake just pedalling steadily now. Looks around, checks over his shoulder, doing the right thing. Beckham Drake very, very aware of what is going on. This is our chasing group of riders. Mathieu van der Poel was the winner of this race in 2013. And also Felix Gall was the winner 2 years later in 2015. We all remember Quinn Simmons attacking on his own in 2019 to race away in Harrogate. And another rider who's won it more recently as well, Remco Evenepoel. He was the winner in 2018. That was the first time where we saw the real sight of Remco Evenepoel and the possibility he was going to be one of the best bike riders in the world. He closed a gap of, I remember it being the 2.5 minutes or something to the leaders, and then just went through and rode away in the style we now know of Remco. Beckham Drake has done exactly the right thing. A good decision. He lets van der Merwe come back to him. And now the peloton has suddenly closed in very, very quickly on the chase. So this race is evolving very rapidly now. Beckham Drake, Nicolas van der Merwe at the front of the race. The peloton has got itself organised, and now Italy are starting to show with the Netherlands that they need to bring this back. They catch the chasers, and now the momentum is all about catching the leaders. Italy have really started to fire now. So Italy, the Netherlands, all of the front, Germany, Switzerland, Spain are represented as well up towards the front of this group. But suddenly that gap of what was over 2 minutes with the loss of van der Merwe for a little while means that the gap is down to 1:18 already. These two leaders, they'll need to up the pace a little bit more. A little chat and conversation between them that time as they went through and shared the pacemaking. It's notable which nations are represented here at the front and which aren't. Max Gould is still up there for Australia. Another Australian rider just a little bit further back. Belgium represented, Sweden as well. And there's a lot of riders in trouble now. Ashlyn Barry is up there for the United States of America, and a big attack here from Great Britain at the front. As we complete a lap, the next lap, we're coming up to the midway point in this race. This time we'll have 4 laps of racing to go. Ashland Barry suffering a little bit over the top of that rise that time. He was looking good. Josh Johnson is up there for South Africa still. Coming up to 1.5 hours of racing. Drake and Van der Merwe, 4 laps of racing to go. The average speed still 40.8 kilometers an hour. But here's the peloton, which is split to pieces. There are riders desperately trying to get themselves back into the string of riders. One of them is Enzo Hincapie. And it looks like with a midway point, this peloton is suddenly going to diminish in numbers massively. The last time was 83 riders in the front. France start to up the pace. It's a bit of a battle of survival right now. Josh Johnson is there looking comfortable towards the back. Eritrea still represented in here with Naom Ephraim. He's doing a fantastic job. So a bit of a stretch of the pace as the riders make their way across, but last time the gap was well over 2 minutes. This time it's going to be 1 minute and 11 seconds, led by Zeno Winter, the German rider, Matthew Peace of Great Britain, Roberto Capello of Italy, Dan Dijkman of the Netherlands, Harry Hudson of Great Britain, Tom Sterneman of Switzerland, Edward Klasser of Belgium, Jan Jakovic of Poland, and Théophile Vassal of France. Benjamin Noval is now up there for Spain. He's starting to show towards the front. Let's get that bottle out of the road. One minute has been removed from the lead in 7K. Johan Blanc stretches the pace. Zeno Winter goes through. The Italian rider Capello is always at the front now. Well, you have to admire the way these riders have taken this race on today. They raced across to the leaders. They've been animated. They've had their trials and tribulations, but they're still there.
UCI Whole World Championship here in Kigali 2025. You can buy a drink, a meal, or a souvenir. Please visit the fan zones and the expo zone, the expo mall. Please visit. This is wonderful. Mukomera mashini munyarwanda, mukomera mashini muri China Jackson. 4 laps to go. 4 laps to go.
Welcome along. This is the Junior World Road Race Championship. It's quite a dynamic race so far, and a lot is going on in the chase behind. Can these riders now start to increase their advantage again? I'm not so sure. It's 106. The gap is dropping. The fans are at the side of the roads, ready to cheer these riders every stretch of the way. It's interesting watching the social media of some riders and what people are saying about being here in Rwanda. And everyone being, not everyone, but a lot of people, riders being sceptical about coming here. And actually what their experience has been of being here in Rwanda, how different it's been to what they anticipated. And I think the one thing that sticks with you about being here in Rwanda is the welcoming of the people, and how, I think I said it yesterday and I'll say it again, how they smile all the time and smile at you before you smile at them, and how welcoming they are when you go and try and find dinner or coffee or whatever it might be. And this, the dancing and the drumming and the singing is just something that is part of life. I've seen posts in the last few days from Remco and Kasia, Nibiadoma and others who are just really realising what this country has. Yes, you have to deal with the hustle and bustle of the roads, and that's quite difficult for the riders to get out of the city and train, but once you're out, for them it is they're discovering these mountains, these areas, and being able to train in some different landscapes. This morning I was sitting at breakfast with a few people, including Katarina Nash, who is one of the best bike riders on mountain bike and cyclocross of her generation. They were going out for a gravel ride, which they were excited about, a few of them, because I'm sure the gravel racing around here must be incredible. The gravel riding must be just special. More attacks at the front of the peloton. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Ant McCrossan. If you'd like to get in touch, at Ant McCrossan on social media. This race is now past its midway point, heading to the climb again of Kigali Golf. We're just about to hit the bottom of that in a couple of kilometres. There's a lot of riders losing time in this race, having been dropped. I just saw Antoine Bergeron of Canada just go across the finish line with a group of riders, including a Slovenian rider tucked in there as well. Time the main peloton comprised 42 riders. There's a little group of riders behind him, may well get themselves back into the peloton, but predominantly that acceleration, that lap, kind of split the peloton nearly in half. Such was the acceleration, the attacks that happened on that lap. So we've gone from 98 riders in the peloton at the end of lap number 8 to 81 to 83. A couple of riders came back. So when we went across the line, the main bulk of the peloton was 44 riders. It's amazing how this race is just going out the back. It's just attritional. Another move by Italy. I'm hearing the names of riders being dropped. This is Beckham Drake getting through the gels in the back pocket bit by bit. These two riders still believe that there's a medal opportunity up for grabs here for them. And now Italy start to move. Spain represented. Italy just trying to go across, and another counter-attack from behind, including Germans getting in the mix. Yet again, Spain are represented. They are really dynamic today. The Spanish team's hopes will be on Benjamin Noval for sure, but they've got some very strong bike riders in here. Van der Merwe, he's recovered well from that problem that he had. So the Italian rider at the front is trying to bring this group across now. There is this counter-attack starting to form. Spain are represented. It's Agostinacchio of Italy who started this little acceleration. Germany represented. Spain putting two riders into this group. Well, this group of riders now on the move. Benjamin Noval is in here. Castro is in here for Costa Rica. Agostinacchio at the front. The two Spanish riders are in here. Cubillas and Noval. And also in this group of riders is Zeno Winter. They're working well together. This is a very, very strong group of bike riders. Agostinacchio, winner of Trofeo San Rocco in Italy. He's a strong rider indeed. He's had some great results. He won the points classification in Morbihan. He won a stage there as well. He was second in the points classification at the Nations Cup in Czechia. And he's won Grand Prix Liberazione Città di Massa and Gran Premio Cantu as well. Only 33 seconds for Benjamin Drake and Van der Merwe at the front. They're starting to feel the pace a little bit, I'm sure. They'll start to feel the heat, which is accelerating all the time. They'll feel the altitude for sure. You can see the sweat on the back of the neck of Benjamin Drake. Now this is a good group because Belgium are represented now and Great Britain are represented in this group. So that means that the bigger teams in this group is Van Kerkhove as well. So if he combines, then that's good news for Belgium. Matthew Peace of Great Britain is in here as well. He's the rider on the right-hand side of the road. So it's Agostinacchio, number 11, Zeno Winter. Also in the group, Cubillas, Benjamin Noval. In the group as well is the Costa Rican Castro. And the two riders who've just joined, Van Kerkhove, a medalist in the time trial, and Matthew Peace. So that group of riders have accelerated their way across now, and they need to think about going all the way across to the leaders. They're heading now towards the bottom of the climb. We reached the bottom with about 47.7 kilometres to go, so we've got about 2 and a bit kilometres to reach the base of the cobble climb, and I wonder then whether this group of riders will really accelerate to try and put themselves into the lead firmly and start to grow an advantage over the peloton behind. Well, there's some useful riders in that chase group, isn't there?
Understandably, there's about 1, 2, 3,
Benjamin Noval,
8 guys.
16 years of age and already signed with Ineos Grenadiers.
Looks like it is coming to.
He is the rider that everybody has wanted. So far this season, Benjamin Noval has just won everything. It's been incredible. He won Trofeo Santiago, he won the Challenge Comarcas, he won race Trofeo Vincenzi Lopez, he won the general classification in the Nations Cup in Baron in Pavia del Grappa. He won Volta Ciclista Besaya, he won the Spanish Junior Time Trial and the road race. As our next rider drops, this is Goldstein.
And here comes Artiso Car as Rwanda signing in for the U23 men's.
So Benjamin Noval, at only 16 years of age, just the hottest property in junior cycling. Stunakio at the front. Pushing the pace on. The peloton is only 33 seconds behind right now. Now this group of riders is really starting to increase the tempo now as we make our way onto the cobbles. But this time round we'll have 3 laps of racing to go. Beckham Drake on the front. He has been the animator of this breakaway today. Since he got to the front, he went straight to the front. He was the rider who accelerated and took Van der Merwe with him. You wonder how long the legs are going to hold out. The peloton has gone back to 55 seconds. He's been the driving force. He's been the rider who believes that this is the breakaway that can win this Junior World Championship. Now the Spanish team are a little bit in the ascendancy, but Belgium are also there with Stefan Kirkova on the right-hand side, a medalist already in the time trial. He's been strong. Looks like the German rider Zeno Winter doesn't have the legs as he is distanced on this climb. The Costa Rican rider, great performance by him today as he just holds on to the back in that red and white jersey. %9 gradient. The British rider Peace is making everybody's legs hurt now. He's looked good throughout the last couple of laps. Matthew Peace. He's had a great number of results this year as well. He won a race in Cantabria in Spain. Now the neutral service, Shimano neutral service car goes through and goes up the road. Gran Premio El Barco, also Matthew Peace won. He was the winner of the Memorial Kelly Campos. He's trying to drive this one on a little bit. Cubillas dropping in for Spain. Benjamin Noval goes through to the front. It's incredible to think this rider's 16 years of age. Castro of Costa Rica, right on the back of the group. Let's see whether these chasers can now get to the front. There they are. They can see our two leaders who've been on their own for a long time today. Can they get themselves across? Then the question will be, can Van der Merwe and Drake hold on to the momentum of this chasing group? It's always difficult, but let's see how they do. Sebastian Castro on the back for Costa Rica. He won a race in Italy recently. Grand Prix Cerreto Guidi. And there's the peloton, or what we'll call what's left of the peloton, in the background, trying to come across, led by a number of different riders. Looks like there's a lot of acceleration from behind. Could be Belgium, actually, who are trying to bring riders up. In fact, Poland, it's the Polish team who really now need to start to accelerate. And suddenly there are riders jumping on cross, trying to get into the slipstream of riders, realizing that maybe the race has gone forward and this is the moment. So Poland want to be in this move today. They want to get involved. It's Jakowiak of Poland, the rider we talked about right at the start. He's had a bit of sickness this week, but he's feeling better. 17 years of age, rides for the feeder team of Bahrain Victorious. You can tell that with that white and blue helmet that he's wearing. So we come up to complete a lap, and this time we'll have 3 laps of racing to decide a junior world champion. Last time we had 44 riders in a peloton. This time we're just going to have groups of riders dotted all over the hillside.
Big chase group, but here come Nicolas van der Velde, and right on his wheel, still there, Beckham Drake. And here comes the chase group. So they are. We're
going to complete another lap now. This time 3 laps of racing to go. Drake and Van der Merwe realise they're about to get some fast-moving company. The Polish rider is also jumping across to the chase. We're going to end up with a front group of riders, and I think the strongest riders survive. The average speed drops by 0.17 of a kilometre an hour, so not significantly. They have really fired the whole way through this race. Italy trying to get on terms. Eritrea still represented in this race by Naom Ephraim. What a ride he's doing. The peloton come through and they're not that far behind. Only 30 seconds now. This race is significantly shrinking. So maybe the peloton have done the right thing in just conserving energy and waiting for the right time. There are still 44 riders in contention. Through the feed. Oh, drops a bottle, the Canadian. That's not good news. I do wonder about soigneurs standing in the pits when they see a rider from a nation drop a bottle and they don't just hand them one. It's something that we've talked about a lot in commentary about, in particular in Grand Tours and things, where you just see soigneurs refuse to give a rider a bottle. I don't understand it. I never have done. to use nutrition as a tactical advantage when a rider is in the heat like this, I just think is not the right thing. Some lovely slow motion shots. The peloton that time across the climb was led by Roberto Capello, again of Italy, Karl Herzog of Germany, Naam Ephraim of Eritrea. What a ride he's doing today. He really is looking great for the African nations. Mats van den Einde of Belgium, Tom Sterneman of Switzerland, Calderon of Colombia is still there, Harry Hudson of Great Britain, South Africa's Josh Johnson, he's doing a wonderful ride today as well. Ashton Barry is still up there for the USA. So the two leaders nearly caught, but not quite. A big group of riders now behind them, having merged. As Beckham Drake again checks over his shoulder, and it's the Polish rider that we've been talking about who jumps away to try and put himself in the front group. Jan Jakowiak was 7th in the individual time trial. With that little bit of sickness going now, he's clearly starting to feel so much better. If you've just joined us now and you want to follow us now for the next 3 laps of racing, thank you for being alongside us for this World Championship. The race situation is evolving right now as we make our way into the real finale of this race, and it's Beckham Drake and Van der Merwe, who we've talked about all day today, who are there at the front. Behind them, though, a big chase going on and a merging of different groups. This is the main peloton. Caregui of Spain is there at the back. Also at the back of the peloton is Mendes of Bolivia. He's doing a good ride today. But in that chasing group of riders, some real strength. Oh, Van der Merwe, he's either decided to wait and just have a little bit of a rest, cleverly, or he's starting to suffer. Ashton Barry at the back here, number 26. And Giacomo Rosato there in the blue jersey. Number 102 we just saw there is the South African rider Josh Johnson. Australia have still got some riders in here. Lucas Stevenson is still there for Australia. And Van der Merwe, I think, has come to the end of his time in the lead. Now what he needs to do is just see whether he can recover. Looks like Van der Merwe might be cramping up. Johan Blanc at the back here for France. Johan Blanc was quite dynamic earlier on in the race, looking to try and get across to the leaders at one point. Now he's sitting on the back. Maybe he's had to just give himself a little bit of recovery time. And that's how things look from the back of the race. Gives you an idea of the rise up towards Kigali Golf again, and the little group of riders going away. This is a sense of what you see if you're at the back of the peloton. Agostinaccio is at the back for Italy. And still, this rider pursues the gold at the front, Beckham Drake. He's still riding as though he thinks, okay, I'm still here, you come up to me. I'm not going to wait for you. Every time he comes into this corner, though, he takes a very different line to what you might expect. We really are ticking through the kilometres now. We get to the main part of Kigali Gulf very soon. This is the kind of run into it, with the greenery on the left-hand side and the buildings to the rider's left-hand side. It feels quite intense as far as the heat is around here. The rider from Poland out. They've still got a representative. That's Gankars. Salary Gankars, who's out. He's abandoned.
This is the lady we are having men under 23 sign on. Please welcome team South Africa.
Can Beckham Drake continue like this? 24 degrees now. So since we started, the temperature has increased by 3 degrees. This Italian rider just sitting in the wheels now, not prepared to do any work. He's done a fair amount of chasing. Cyclocross world champion. He's very, very strong. Where's #1? Because Lorenzo Finn was the winner last year, and Italy get #1 this time. But it doesn't mean that this rider doesn't deserve it. He definitely does. He's an incredible bike rider so far. Just checking over his shoulder. Seems cool, calm and collected. No main worries. I think this peloton feel like they've got everything under control right now. Now and then you get little moves off the front. He's back in time trial mode. You can see the little touches on that skin suit to give him as aerodynamic a skin suit as possible. The little panels that are thoughtfully created to create the turbulence and the air across the back. Kind of smooth lycra on the back, more ribbed on the shoulders and down the sides. So much testing goes into these skin suits now. So Van der Merwe is still in here. Mexico is still represented in this group. Cisneros. Sitting on the back of the group is Edward Classo of Belgium. But every time that this rider looks like he might get caught, he just continues and then ups the tempo even more and starts to open up a bigger gap. #2 we can see there, Capello. He's done a lot of work today, Roberto Capello. Roberto Capello, the Italian rider, 18 years of age, rides for the Grenke Auto Ada squad, which is linked with Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe in many ways. 6th in the individual time trial